Hey guys, so I am finally doing a video. Finally did a YouTube page. I've been wanting to do this for like forever, but I never got around to it, and I don't know, just a lot of things happened. So, welcome to my life. The first thing that I want to talk about is something that an incident that I experienced, I guess you could say, and I wanted to share with you guys. I don't talk about it much, for the simple fact that I went through a lot during that incident, but obviously you can tell from the title what it is I'm going to talk about. So, without further ado, I got my cookie and my chimney. Let's get into the video. So, on June 13 of this year, I broke my ankle, and I broke it in 3 places, which ended up my ankle ended up being dislocated. So, it was a normal, I don't even know what day it was. I think it was a Thursday. It was a normal Thursday, but to me it was a special day because, as you guys kind of can guess, or some of you watching this can kind of guess, it was BTS's 5th anniversary, and being a fan, it was like a big deal for me because it's like the first anniversary thing, and I ended up, during the whole journey of getting to know BTS and just learning about them and how huge and amazing the fandom is, the ARMY. So I met a lot of great people, and I've become friends with some of them. So if you guys are watching this, hi. So it was a huge deal for me. I was gonna hang out, gonna celebrate BTS, and yay. So there's a group here in NYC that's run by 2 girls, and they're amazing. They're super sweet, and I'll put their Twitter account and Facebook account bottom. So if you live in NYC, definitely check them out. Obviously, if you're a BTS fan, ARMY. So so they had arranged like a small event in Central Park. So after work I went, and I'm telling you, it was a normal cloudy day, and I was super excited. And I got there, everybody was super nice, greeting me, saying hi to me. I've met some of them I already knew from before, from other like events and things like that. So I met some new ones that day, new ARMY that day. So so I got there, everything went great. One of the account owners wanted to do like I think it was Never Have I Ever, I think it was like a game thing. So I'm just standing there, and I'm listening to her. I didn't really understand what was going on. I was kind of like in my own planet, kind of, I guess. So all the ARMY was gathered around, and everyone was like, getting ready to play the thing or whatever. And so she said whatever, Never Have I Ever, blah blah blah. I can't remember, it was all a blur. So she did she said what it was, and then I'm just standing there. So you had to like go towards the person, partner, and I guess whoever was left out without a partner, I guess is out. So so finally she said what she said, and then everybody was going towards each other, and then one of the girls was coming to me. So I just kind of stood there, and then I moved It was just the most weirdest thing. I took one step, and I swear my I guess we were on grass, so it rained that day, so the grass was very slippery, and I wore Converse that day. So yeah, wet grass and Converse are not a good combination. And we were on a somewhat of a hill. So as she was coming towards me, I was gonna go towards her, and I took one step, and all of a sudden I was like falling, literally falling down. But normally, when I fall, or when I know I'm gonna fall, my reaction is to fall back and to fall basically on my butt. But my body ended up falling on the side, but my legs were still planted on the ground. So as I fell, I literally fell on my leg, and that's how I ended up fracturing my foot, my ankle. That's how I fractured my ankle. I fell on my ankle. I wasn't in no pain at the moment, and all the other girls were, like I said, they were super nice. They were very attentive. You know, they called 911 because I told them, I said, I think I dislocated or fractured my ankle. So they were super quick, called the ambulance. Everyone, they came to me, they asked me, do you need anything? Do you want anything? Are you okay? Are you in pain? They were talking to me, they were laughing. They were nice. One of the leaders, one of the ones that runs the group, was like, you're so brave. I can't believe it. I would have been crying, because I was calm. And like I said, I wasn't in no pain at the moment. And so the ambulance got there. They started asking me questions. They put me on the stretcher, and I headed to the hospital. I called my aunt, called my dad. My dad got there. One of the armies. My goodness, I would say your name, but I don't want to butcher your name. But if you're watching this, thank you for being there for me in the hospital. So yeah, she was with me throughout the ambulance ride, and everyone was messaging me on Twitter, asking me if I was okay and everything, and so yeah, I got to the hospital. Then my dad got there. They did some tests, X-rays, and throughout the whole time I still wasn't in pain. I wasn't in pain. I was joking with everybody. Everybody was like so amazed. You just your leg is this way, like all twisted one way, and you're like so calm. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm weird. But anyways, so finally the X-ray results came in, and the doctor looked at me. He was like, well, you fractured your ankle in 3 places. I looked at him. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, your ankle is dislocated, but the reason why it's dislocated is because there's 2 main bones. There's the fibula and the tibula. Don't ask me which side is the fibula and the tibula. I have no idea. Just know that your main bones are tibula and fibula. So they go like this. So when I fell, they went like this. And then obviously my ankle was like that, somewhere like that. So yeah, you get the idea. I was like, wow. I wasn't thinking clearly. To be honest, throughout the whole situation, you're gonna think I'm nuts. But when it happened, I kid you not, my first reaction was, oh my god, am I gonna miss the BTS concert? Like, it was just crazy. Like Jungkook, Jimin, and everybody was like, everything was just going crazy in my mind. I wasn't even thinking about work. I was thinking about the concert. They told me that I dislocated my ankle, so they were gonna put me in a cast. They were gonna put my ankle in place and put me in a cast. So then the moment comes when the podiatrist and the assistant come and tell me, okay, it's time to put your ankle in place. We're gonna give you injections so you don't feel anything, and yeah, we're gonna do this. So they had me lay down. Obviously my leg was my leg was up on a sling, and they were putting the injection. They put the injections and everything, and I was already crying because I've seen videos, I've seen movies. I know what it's like to when they put the when they put a bone back in place. I already know what it sounds like. I know it's gonna hurt. I wasn't ready for this. So he was like, on the count of 3. And I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I was crying like a big baby. And so the doctor, the assistant was talking to me. She was asking me all these questions. And my dad, out of all things, wants to bring up BTS. He was like, oh, she fell. She was on an event. Do you know BTS? And she was like, oh no, I don't know. So she's like, oh, tell me about them. So I'm trying to tell her, and all of a sudden the doctor takes my foot and it goes. There was no pain, but I felt the pressure, and the moment I heard my bone go in place, yeah, it was pretty bad. And I was like, oh my god, my foot. I think I kicked the doctor by mistake. My reaction was like to push him back. And yeah, I said sorry to the doctor. I'm like, I'm sorry. He's like, no, it's okay. You're not the first one to do that. And I was like, yeah, I know, but they put me in a cast and they told me I could go home. Came home. Coming home was a challenge because there's stairs to get into my house. And obviously I couldn't put weight on my foot. So here I am with a pair of crutches that I've never used in my life, that I was scared to use. I have all these stairs going up to my house. It is 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, yeah, how am I gonna do this? So I tried and I cried. It wasn't easy. It was bad. And I had my aunt and my uncle, my aunt and my dad on each side, and they're like telling me, oh, do this, do that. And I was like, no, I don't know if I could do this. So then my aunt was like, well, you're gonna have to sit down and push yourself up that's the only way if you're scared to use the crutches. I was like, okay. I was not in pain, but I was tired and the cast was heavy, and I was using my other leg to basically push my weight up. It was a bit of a challenge, but I was able to do it. And I got home and I got inside and I was so happy. I was so happy to be home with my big ass cast. And I was able to rest. So I slept a few hours until I got a call from the hospital next morning, to tell me that I need to come back to the hospital because when they showed the x-rays showed that my ankle came out of place again. So they wanted me to come back in so they could put it back in place. I was like, they're gonna put my ankle in place again. I went back to the hospital and they were already waiting for me to put my ankle back in place, and it was a different doctor this time, and they had a bunch of other assistants who were there. So it's so funny because I wore this shirt that day. So the nurses liked my shirt because it says stressed, blessed, and K-pop obsessed. And the girl was like, oh my god, you like K-pop? And I'm like, yeah, I like K-pop. And throughout my tears, because in my mind I was like, oh my god, they're gonna put my foot back in place again. Why me? So they were giving me all types of things. Eddie, like, if you hear snoring, that's my dog. Sorry. They gave me medication to calm down because I ended up, during that process of waiting and then taking off the cast, ended up getting an anxiety attack. Yes, people, I do suffer from anxiety. They gave me anxiety medication to calm me down, on top of medication so I didn't feel any pain, and then they numbed the foot. And the guy comes, and this guy is like, he was a little bit more, not aggressive, but more like, let's get it done, let's go. Like, he was ready to get me out of the door. So I was like, all right, this guy is gonna just do it and not tell me, whatever. So I'm crying hysterically. But I was in another cloud because, like I said, they had given me stuff to calm me down. So they put me on the sling thing again, took off my cast, and I was already like kicking the guy. And I was like, not kicking the guy, pushing the guy to not do it. And he's like, Marlene, you have to stop. He's like, I have to put your foot in place. He's like, you need to stop. So the girls were talking to me. They were asking me about, K-pop and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah. I'm telling them, and then the guy went, it went back in place again. But then he kept holding it, my foot, and then my foot started hurting because obviously I broke my two bones. So as he's holding it and trying to push it in, it was pushing the bones that were broken. And that really hurt. I was crying really bad. I was crying throughout this whole process. It's not even funny. So he put it in place. They put the cast again, and I was like, it was hurting still somewhat. Eddie, they put the cast on, and they were like, we're gonna do some x-rays because we need to make sure before you go home if it went back in place again. I was like, okay, cool. So they did all the x-rays. The doctor comes back and says, okay, so unfortunately your ankle does not want to stay in place, so we're gonna have to keep you overnight in the hospital. We're gonna do the surgery, which is basically, it has a name, I don't remember the name. The surgery is that there's bars sticking out, but there's a screw that goes inside your foot from one, like literally inside your foot, and it connects from one side to the other, and that's what's gonna keep your ankle in place until I do the surgery with the plates and the screws. So I stood in the hospital. I'll tell you this much, it was a really nice hospital. I appreciated all the doctors and the nurses. They were super sweet, super nice, and very attentive. It was great. It was nice. Like, it wasn't a horrible stay in the hospital, because mind you, I was there for 12 days. I stood there. They did that surgery, and it went great. Then the doctor came, and he was like, okay, we're gonna wait a few days, and then we're gonna do the surgery, with the screws and the plates. I was like, okay, no problem, cool. So the day came that it was time to do the surgery, and I was nervous and I was scared. The other surgery was quick. It wasn't, that bad, but this one was a more extensive surgery because they really had to cut to the bone, and I was gonna be asleep for a while. And so it was just kind of scary. For the second for the first surgery, I was already kind of asleep before I made it to the operating room. For this one, I was awake in the operating room, and they were putting like all these things on me, and like they were injecting me with this, to put me to sleep, and it was a lot. So all of a sudden, I'm like waking up, and because I hear them calling my name. Like they were like, Marlene, are you awake? Can you hear me? Marlene. And I felt them shaking me, and all of a sudden this mask was on my face. So I went to the recovery room. They took me to the recovery room and they told me, Marlene, unfortunately, we weren't able to do the surgery, so we had to wake you up. And I was like, oh, why? What's wrong? I don't understand. And they're like, oh, don't worry, the doctors are gonna come and we're gonna explain it to you what happened. So I was like, okay. So all the doctors came, and at the same time my dad came, and they basically told him that when they had put me to sleep, and they were gonna put the tubes down my throat so like, to breathe. But unfortunately, your girl's lungs decided to contract, which basically means that they started closing up, which I stopped breathing, and they weren't able to put the tube down my throat. So their reaction was to just stop the surgery, have the people come in like an emergency and then wake me up. So that's basically what happened. Your girl stopped breathing. She was about to go to another planet. But yeah. So the main doctor, they sent me back to my room. The main doctor came and he was like, okay, so we're gonna try to figure out why your lungs contracted like that, because the way your lungs contracted is if you were having an asthma attack. Mind you, I don't suffer from asthma. So they didn't understand why I reacted like that, because the first surgery was fine. So they ran some tests and stuff like that, and they ended up coming up with that I caught pneumonia. So they said I caught pneumonia, and they were like, so we're gonna give you antibiotic, for the time being, and then we'll figure out when we'll do the surgery. Okay, no problem. So, as I was getting the antibiotics, they started noticing that my kidney levels were going up. We were gonna have to stop the antibiotics. The 2 of the antibiotics are making your kidney levels go up, and that's not good. So we're gonna have to flush the antibiotics out of your system. Still, they couldn't do the surgery as of yet because of that. So they stopped 2 of the antibiotics, and then they ended up just stopping all the antibiotics altogether. And they were giving me these liquids so it could flush out the antibiotics could flush out of my system, so my levels could go back to normal. I'm telling you, it wasn't easy. And when I tell you it was really bad. It was just, I felt it was just bad. It was really bad. So, finally, my levels were okay to the point that they could do the surgery. And they were like, well, the way we're gonna do the surgery is that they're gonna do like they're gonna inject me here. It's basically the same thing that they do to pregnant women, to numb the area. So I was numb from the waist down, and then they did a block on top of that, which is to numb the foot, the whole leg. So, but they did it very gently, like they weren't rushing, which was nice. They, like I said, they were really like on point with everything. Despite what happened, they were really on point with everything. Finally, the day came. I was already numb and everything. I was getting ready. I was in the waiting room, to go to the operating room. So I was already like kind of falling asleep, because there was, after a while it gets blurry. So but the most amazing thing about it is that while I was waiting, I was kind of falling asleep, I kid you not, but I felt like a presence there. And for some of you that don't know, my mom had passed away a few years ago from breast cancer. So honestly, I felt my mom being there for me, like, you know, basically assuring me that everything was going to be okay. So then after that, I kind of like black out, and then the next day, you know, I'm in the recovery room waking up, and they were like, hey Marlene, you are you okay? You know, are you feeling any pain, nauseous? And I was like, no. And they're like, okay. And I was like, well, did they do the surgery? And she was like, yeah, the surgery was successful. You know, you just came back, so you're gonna feel, you know, blah blah blah. I was so happy. I was like, thank you, God. Thank you, Mom, for being there. The surgery went well. They were able to do it the second time. After that, I went back to I went to my room and everything. My kidney levels were still high. I wasn't able to go home yet until the levels were at a certain point. And when I tell you I was determined, I was determined. I was drinking so much water, so many liquids. It was no joke. I was like, I want to go home already. Like, I was already tired of being in the hospital. I wanted to be with my families, with my dog. Finally, it came the day that I was gonna go home. When they told me that my levels were good, that I can be released. I was so happy. It was the best day ever. So, my dad came and stuff like that. He took my stuff, and I ended up in one of those ambulance trucks, buses things, and that's how I came home. And my family was here waiting for me, and my brother was being his normal self, making fun of me, of course. So they all greeted me with open arms and hugs and everything, and I was like, yay. So as of today, I'm officially still in recovery. It's been a journey. It's been a long journey. I'm in a cam boot now, but unfortunately I still have to do one more surgery. Obviously when the bones broke, they went this way, so they had to put a screw to keep them still in place until my bones completely healed. So I do have an appointment to go, you know, for my follow-up checkup and to determine the day for the surgery. So I still have one more to go. So my recovery is still ongoing. It's been hard, you know, but I'm thankful for my family, for, you know, my friends. I'm thankful to God, and, you know, for my mom too, who's watching me in heaven. Thankful for BTS. Yeah, so this is my story of how I fractured my ankle. I hope you guys like the video. I do intend on making more episodes of my life. I hope you guys have a good day. You know, be careful out there. Do not wear Converse in the rain. And I will see you guys next time. Love you guys. Bye.